I've seen a lot of people splurge on a cheap 55-inch LED that looks good in the box, only to end up fighting glare on a sunny morning or missing that wow factor when they finally sit down to binge watch. The regret that follows is real, and it makes you wonder whether a bigger price tag on a premium model is actually a smarter buy or just another gamble. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. In this review, I'll walk through what it's like to actually live with the Amazon Ember Artline 65-inch, why the built-in art mode changes the conversation, and whether the trade-offs line up with what you really need in a TV. First off, the biggest hesitation most buyers have isn't about picture quality. 4K QLED with Dolby Vision sounds impressive on paper, but about the whole dual-purpose claim. Is a TV that also pretends to be a gallery really going to replace a dedicated art frame or a separate digital photo display? I spent a weekend setting this thing up in a bright family room, swapping from a sports night to a photo slideshow while the kids were doing homework. The transition was genuinely seamless. A voice command to Alexa Plus switched the input, and the screen faded into a curated piece from the 2000 Plus free art collection without any noticeable lag. That instant switch felt more like a lifestyle upgrade than a gimmick, especially when the room went from a loud game night to a quiet evening of family photos with just a single command. The first practical strength I noticed is the anti-glare coating. My living room gets a lot of natural light from a large window, and many mid-range TVs get washed out by noon sun. The Ember's surface kept the picture punchy enough to see the colors in a nature documentary without constantly adjusting the brightness. Coupled with HDR10 Plus and Dolby Vision, the highs and blacks stay detailed enough that you actually feel present in the scene. For anyone who watches movies or sports in a bright space, that hidden anti-glare treatment is a real time saver. Next, the frame concept is more than an aesthetic afterthought. The included walnut frame snaps onto the bezel and hides the TV's edges, making the whole unit look like a piece of furniture rather than a slab of electronics. I tried the same setup in a hallway where a traditional TV would have felt out of place, and the framed look blended nicely with the existing core. It also means you can swap out the frame later if you want a different finish, which is a small but thoughtful flexibility that many sleek wall mount designs lack. Now, let's talk about the Alexa Plus integration. Voice control on this model isn't just turn it on or off. I could ask it to show me my vacation photos from June, and it pulled a collage from my synced Amazon Photos album in seconds. The same command could pull up a new series on Fire TV, and the system would remember where I left off, all without juggling a remote. For anyone who already uses Alexa devices around the house, that continuity feels natural. However, the reliance on Amazon's ecosystem does mean you're somewhat locked in. If you prefer Google services or want to use a third-party streaming stick, you'll have to navigate around a few extra steps. On the downside, the price point is noticeably higher than a standard 65-inch 4K TV without the art features. The rating of 3.2 out of 5 stars from a small pool of 27 reviewers hints that while some love the dual canvas concept, others feel the execution falls short of expectations. One practical weakness I discovered is the limited gaming performance. The TV does support HDR10+, but the input lag is higher than you'd see on a dedicated gaming panel, and there's no variable refresh rate. If you're a serious gamer who needs instant response, you might find the Ember a bit sluggish compared to a pure gaming monitor. Another subtle trade-off is the built-in Fire TV experience. While the 2026 release promises a modern UI, I ran into occasional hiccups when switching between a live TV channel and a streaming app. Screens would freeze for a second before refreshing. It wasn't a deal-breaker, but it does add a tiny friction point in an otherwise smooth workflow. For households that rely heavily on multiple streaming services, this could become a minor annoyance. So, who should walk away with this TV? If you're someone who wants a centerpiece that doubles as an ever-changing piece of art, enjoys the convenience of voice-first navigation, and spends a good chunk of time watching movies or streaming shows in a bright room, the Ember Artline feels like a purposeful purchase. It also makes sense for families that love displaying photos or rotating gallery pieces without buying a separate digital frame. The built-in frame and anti-glare coating add real-world value that you can see the first day you mount it. Conversely, if you're hunting for the lowest price per inch, need top-tier gaming performance, or already have a dedicated smart speaker ecosystem that you don't want to expand, you might be better off